when we were supposed to start, but better late than never, maybe? But let's actually see and make sure that we are indeed live. There we go. Yeah. So it looks like we are to be live and that we are live. So good to go there. Is it just me, or is anyone else having like a very weird kind of like introduction to the new year? Is it? Because I just want to say I think it's me. I want to say that it is one of those, it's I like to I like to think of things in like a different perspective, like a perspective in the sense of those okay. In the perspective of like how things start off kind of dictates how the end of things go. So I've always had the kind of like the perception that when things start off kind of bad, I guess, like when things start off bad, that just means like something good is bound to happen at the end. Don't ask why, because I have no idea why. I've not a clue why that is something that I would think of that would kind of like happen. Where that mentality came from or anything of the sort. It's just always been something where it's like, what is your guiding principle? What like helps guide you to life or guide you throughout your life? And out of the many different things that kind of like just guided me through life and, what I've taken to, really taken to heart, it's just weird. I'll be honest, some of the things that I'm like, no, it makes complete sense. It makes complete sense. I've seen this happen before. It's happened to several other people. This is just how the world is going to work. And of course, like now looking back, it's like, you sure? You sure that's how that works out? Because I don't think so. And and I understand that. I think that is one of the best parts about life and everything and how it's going, is the ability to like to kind of just like reevaluate your circumstances and everything. But that still doesn't change the fact that what I have been going through this past couple of hours, for example, these past couple of hours have been just absolutely ridiculous. Starting off with this, trying to get the best thing. Yeah, this, which if you've ever owned a pair of glasses, and not even just owning a pair of glasses, because there's some crazy, there's some people out there who have this crazy belief that I want glasses because they look cool, they look different, they look unique. And it's like, okay, that it's very nice that you in all your wisdom have great sight, which has nothing to do with your wisdom or anything, but it's like you in your ability to live your life the way that you want to allows you to wear a cosmetic as an accessory, when for some people it is a necessity. Like literally my vision prevents me from doing things such as driving a car, looking at things. If I do not have glasses, like my vision, it has become that severe to where I'm like, if I don't have glasses, like I can't see, like barely. I'm so nearsighted to the sense where it's like just like a couple of inches away, I can't see anything. I can't make out anything. It's like it's horrible. So but that's neither here nor there. The point is, that happened, and it's not saying that I can't get them fixed, because fortunately it looks like the screw just came out, but everything else is intact. Nothing has broken. There's nothing preventing me from putting another screw inside. But one of the big super like inconveniences is that's not something you have readily on hand. That's something where you're just like, yeah, that it'll be fine. It'll be nice to have that, like it'll be nice to go ahead and have that available. But why would this happen? Yeah. Like, that's basically it. Like, why would this happen? Like, out of all the things that could have happened, the universe just decides, well, let's remove the screw from one arm and effectively make the glasses non-usable. Thank goodness I keep old pairs that I can still see out of, just in case for instances like these. So I'm very understanding that I don't think this is a first world problem. I think this is falls along like under maybe a second world problem, or like a it's a problem that there are worse things that can happen. It's not saying that my glasses, like I'm just completely out of glasses, therefore I am completely SOL, but it's still inconvenient. And then even today, which fortunately I was able to fix, the camera webcam that I'm using, it just decided it didn't want to work anymore. And it wasn't the camera. I think it was because it's working right now. Everything is going green, good to go and whatnot. I think it was the outlet I plugged it into, whereas I now have it in a USB 3.0. I had it in a USB 2.0. Which for the longest time it was working. All the streams that I was doing before, it was working, and then I did a quick update and this morning, and then all of a sudden it just decides, nah, I'm not gonna work. I'm not gonna work. But that's not entirely true, because after my stream, after my morning stream that I do, everywhere, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, we had a gaming stream. After that stream, it worked. The camera worked, which allowed me to say, okay, well, it's working now. It's going beautiful, wonderful, great. Let's do this. And then I boot up OBS, and the camera's like, no, sorry, I'm not gonna work. I'm not gonna work. I'm not. That's not what I do. That's not what I'm gonna do. Work? No. So fortunately, I was able to find a solution, and it wasn't like a bad solution. It wasn't as if it was the actual camera, because if it was the actual camera, like I legit would have probably cried. I would have cried, and then I would have went on Amazon and say, what the heck, why is it not working anymore, what's going on, and making this a bigger deal than it actually needs to be. But great thing about it is that we don't have to worry about that, because the camera's working and we can move on. Speaking of moving on, yeah, don't really have like a guided plan for the day. I know that we do have, we have a couple of boards with different patterns on them, which I'll be more than happy. If we need to, in terms of like carving and what we can do. Yeah, we can. That is definitely something we can do. So that is definitely an option. Or I was thinking, yeah, That's probably what we will go ahead and do. Uh, I didn't really anticipate this stream to be like a super long one. I mean, none of our cooking streams are too long. At least for the moment, they're not too long, because I feel like, until we, have that kind of, have like that, have like the skill base to like actually like work on like legit super big projects, or like passion projects, or and everything. We're still very much in like the infant kind of stage where we're carving out patterns and everything, but we don't really have like a structure here. Right now the structure is finding what the structure is, which I guess that's a structure in itself. But in any case, we don't exactly have like a fully fledged plan right now, but I just felt, in the essence of consistency, because that is definitely one of the resolutions that I have for myself this year, especially in terms of like content creation and everything. Consistency is one of those things that I know I need to work on, which is, really a big testament to why I continued, or I still went ahead and went through with these streams today, and also on Christmas evening, because whereas those are holidays, felt like, and I wouldn't exactly say that I didn't deserve to have those days off, but it's like, those holidays, like I the work that I put to have those days off do not apply to this hobby. For my traditional work, my full-time job, like definitely it'd be different if it was like, oh, you have your day off there and then I was still working. Like, that's not okay. But when it comes to things like this, I'm like, this is a hobby, this is something that I said that I wanted to do. Therefore I will continue to do it. Sorry, I keep like looking at my hair because this is like, yeah, it's weird. It's like it's all together, it's a little bit more to the back, which is actually very exciting. I'm not, if you've ever, if like my struggle, and and you just know what's going on, with hair growth, and especially like with this type of hair texture and everything, how complicated it can be. And right now it's very together, which I really appreciate. So I'm very happy for it. But without further ado, let's get right into this. Again, sorry if this looks a little bit different. Because again, there was, oh yeah, no, we're not. There was a, in trying to like fix the camera and everything, like the light got a little bit, I would say, like mixed up, I guess. Maybe, let me try this. Let me do light web page. Does this help? I mean, it kind of helps a little bit. I basically have like a blank web page, to kind of help like offset with the light and everything, because the issue that was happening was the camera. So like the camera settings, I had to essentially like reset them, because again, this morning with what happened there, I had to there we go. Like what happened there, I had to kind of like reset everything. There you go now. Yeah, it's just like it appears like more on the dark side, and I'm just like, I don't know why. 3144. There we go. Okay. Like, at least this brings some color into it. And that's just what I want, because I don't want it to, you know, even though there's like a, you know, an actual like face camera, like right there, it just has like some, you know, weird kind of like, it just have like this weird kind of feeling where it's like, oh, I work in a dark space, you know? There we go. This is a bit better. Turn that down. And then there's nothing really I can do. I mean, the zoom is the zoom. That's how it is. Like, I don't want so much of the grainy kind of figure, like the grainy kind of look. But I feel like the only way I'm going to get rid of that completely, the only way I'm going to be able to get rid of that completely is by getting another like actual camera and not a webcam, which, and let me see if I take that away. Yep, the white background actually works. How crazy is that? That is crazy. Just in case, because today has been quite a day, and the last thing I need is to, in the words of the new chip carving book that, you know, my best friend so graciously got me, I don't want to add color to my wood. As what has, you know, I guess, you know, I guess that's the phrase some people use when they, you know, when accidents happen and they decide, and, you know, it's like, okay, I did this, you know, made a little oopsie, and now you have like a picture or a carving of, you know, we'll call it Red Dawn, which doesn't sound like it's really a gift you want to give it. Just gonna move you to the side, even though you're not on. Only because I would have loved to have been able to do a pattern, but I'm just gonna move that back as well. I would have loved to be able to do an actual pattern, but I couldn't exactly find one. So, and it wasn't that I couldn't find one, I couldn't find a good beginner one. Because I've come to the realization this is not a beginner pattern. That was I want to say like more of an intermediate pattern, where, you know, once you're comfortable with the technique and you understand how you should hold the knife, where you should hold the knife, you know, like you've not only understood you know, your knife or your carving tools, you also understand the wood. And I feel like at the point where we are, we're finally, you know, understanding it from a different level. I mean, and we are getting to know it a lot better. We are, you know, getting comfortable with, you know, like, we're getting comfortable even with these like these small kind of cuts. We're getting comfortable to where we actually make the cut and it falls out. Like, being able to do that is actually really good for progress, because it makes it, you know, and to be able to do it multiple times shows that you understand, you know, the depth of the knife. You understand, you know, where the cuts need to happen. It just shows like a better understanding of where, you know, your placement needs to be. And this is literally the first time that we're able to do this. Like, even though I'm able to talk through it, I'm like screaming inside, because I'm like, who is making these cuts? Because these cuts are really good. Which again, happens with time, happens with practice. And we've been, I want to say, like 1 month, 2 months into it. Because technically, I want to say technically we started, we didn't really start chip carving until like November. Because we learned about chip carving at the end of October for the our Halloween party. My work had a Halloween party, and that's when, you know, we really learned about chip carving there, but we didn't actually start doing it and start trying it until a couple weeks later. So it's still been some time, so, you know, definitely, you know, still saying there's still definitely a lot to learn, but I'm enjoying it. And all this to say, our skill level right now was not sure, or I was not able to find, in my opinion, a good, let's go ahead and finish some of these off. I was not able to find a like a satisfactory beginner kind of pattern, or like beginner close to an intermediate pattern. Because again, the pattern that we have been working on, like that one is, you know, they say it's like a beginner pattern, but I'm like, that's more of a intermediate. I love that word. I love that word. So I see why they have why they did it to where this one has like different angles and different shapes, because just like along the grain shipping, they're trying to help like with that kind of trying to help you know, help you make sure that doesn't happen. Because even though along the grain is like one of the, it's like, you know, and I feel like a lot of people can relate to this. It's like when you're wrapping gifts and you need to cut the wrapping paper, and you make that one just right, and then the scissors just glide, and you're like, heck yeah, this feels great, you know? That's what it feels like to cut the wood along the grain. It's like the universe is, you know, all in good harmony. All the chakras are aligned, and you're just like, hell yeah, you know? But we are almost, let's see what happens. Let's try like bigger ones. Yep, see? I'm like, and I feel like there is a certain technique there that I want to say has something to do with like the depth of the knife. I mean, it could be, you know, depth of the knife, being a little bit more careful. Or, hold on, I think I know exactly what we've got to do. So if we do this there, do we have to do something like this here? No. No. So it really doesn't matter where you do the cuts. So it really doesn't matter where, you just at the end have to be careful towards the end. I'm pretty sure they cover this in the book though. Like in both books that I have, I'm very sure they cover like curve cuts, curved chips when cutting along the grain. I just feel like this is a pattern that or this is like something that is very common, and they want to, you know, help people out as much as possible. Do that. Oh, we are doing really good right now. Like that is with what we are doing right now. This is so good. Look at that. These chips are looking so nice. And again, I've only been doing this for a couple months, but the fact that the chips are coming out, they're actually coming out on their own, and we're not forcing them out. That is a very, very good indicator of progress and where we are in our chip powder career. Oh. Let's turn this over. I'll do this last row here. And this is just to warm up. This, you know, this is the warm-up board. You know, not all of them are going to be perfect. I understand that. But again, the fact that they are all coming out on their own, I can't help but attribute that to skill, but also because this knife is really nice. Like, this knife is really nice. Beautiful. And then if we do this one as well. Like literally back-to-back chips. We just did back-to-back chips. Four cuts, just four cuts. They look nice. We're not a chip carving master just yet. But I mean, hey, you know, let's try some of these like tinier ones. I feel like these have been neglected. And I don't know why. See, and this is exactly why we needed to do this. Because that was horrible. I'm gonna try just a full row of these. Go. 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 And I believe, look at that. Look at that. And they just wipe away. And they all just wipe away. Look at that. Except for this one. This one had like a, no, yeah, it's still, that one's the uglier one out of the bunch. But you know what? It's fine because it's my ugly one. It's my ugly one, and I appreciate it. Therefore, it stays. Let's move on to an actual board that I was looking at. Not exactly ready to do real life. So the options that we have, let's go to chatting. The options that we have, I don't want to do this one just yet. Because I feel like with this one, there's a bit of realism into this one that I'm not ready to tackle yet. So I don't want to do this one. Also, as much as I'm going to love it, not ready to do this one either. This one dives into lettering, which is going to be very important for the future of what I want to do with this. So when it comes to this specific type of lettering and chip carving lettering, there's going to be more that there's going to be more to that in which I don't want to mess that up initially. I know I was just talking about how amazing, you know, the carves that I was doing on this board was, but I'm like, know your limits. What I really want to do, which I'm not sure exactly how it would be. I mean, there's this one. There's this one on focus. There's this one, which I feel like is like another good, like when we get to bordering or when we start feeling confident in our bordering, I feel like this one's definitely going to be important to do. And then some extra paddings here, but more than likely, as I just eliminated the other three, probably going to do this one. And I say this one because the really good thing about this one is that there's no like prior shadings. So I think one of the good things about this one is that we can kind of have like a good sense of, or try to, you know, make it out for ourselves, like see what we can do in interpreting which cuts need to be made on these ones. So we're definitely going to do this one. So let's switch these out. Let's go to carving. I don't want to start with this one, only because this one, as we can all see, has a very intense circular inside circular oval. And as we've experienced on our other one, these typically these kind of, you know, like starting points where they all like start out at like the nexus, like their nexus point is like right in the middle here. It's not hard, but it's definitely not easy. And even though we just were able to make some like really nice cuts, I don't think we're, you know, consistent enough to tackle that right just yet. But that's okay, because rather than that, what we're going to do is we're going to tackle this one. And the way that we're going to tackle this one is we're going to, I want to say, so we will just want to mark. I mean, even though you can't really see it, we're going to cut out these ones. So those we're going to cut out. These we're also going to cut out, but these are going to be cut out in a different way. These are going to have like that back-to-back ridge. So I didn't want to cut too far down, so that it impacts like the wood that we're going to be cutting into. From there, we'll take a look and see, because I'm not sure if we're going to cut out this whole middle part right here, if we're going to cut this out, or if we're going to cut out these triangles. Not sure. Or if we're actually going to cut, I'm not even sure how that would work. Like the way with that, like I don't even think that we can cut out these parts. But let's see, let's start with what we do know we can do, and we'll work it from, that point. Let's see something real quick. Okay. So. And I guess the really good things about like these two is nowhere near deep enough, but it's okay. But like these like 2-point oval patterns, the really good thing about them is that unlike with like 3-point, like the 3-point patterns, there's kind of like a you have to follow along a certain design, a certain design, which is something that I thought, we'd be able to avoid, and that whole thing, but you can't. Maybe if we do that a couple of times, shave out that little part there. Okay. Don't want to get too and again, with the way that is, go. Down. Beautiful. Wonderful. All right. And then that one just falls out. So what I'm discovering more of is when we make the cuts on these, that initial cut is so important, because it kind of guides with how the other one, it's like the puzzle pieces are connecting, because if you're not cutting deep enough into either one of these sides, when it's supposed to come out, it doesn't, first and foremost. But then when you have to go through and recut it out, that's why I'm not sure if you can really see it. This top one right here, there's like a little bit, I mean, the camera's not really going to focus on it, I believe, also because I took off autofocus. but there's like a little bit of a piece of a like ridge there, which I foolishly am going to try to like even out. But that little piece of, and it's like so surface. It is so surface level, but it's just so annoying. But that happens because that is a result of what happens when you retrace the line, but you don't meet the same depth. So then you have kind of a like irregular, you have like that kind of like irregular appearance within your cut, and it doesn't look nice. So that's why it's really important, especially for these first cuts, it's really important that you get the actual depth that you need. Otherwise, you face that issue. Let's do this one up here because I want, these ones are going to be like, these bottom two are going to be easier because we have like more arm room. So we're going to do these three right here. And I guess one of the resolutions to this as well is to not go as deep. But I feel like, you know, with that, it's a, you know, it's kind of like a artist kind of like perspective on, oh, that is totally against the grain. I totally forgot. Oh, that could have been a hard time. Dang it, see? Yeah, and I believe that's, I want to say that is one of the issues there by going too deep into the cut. That's where a lot of the with the grain chip out occurs. I'm gonna try to make it just, there we go. Yeah, I completely messed that up. Oh, that's horrible. That is very horrible. But I guess that's kind of like the good with the bad. I mean, it's one of those things you have to just kind of like think about in terms of, I guess, like in terms of like carving, because first of all, that's just terrible. Like the way that this looks, like even in my mind, like there's no fixing this. There's like no fixing that, like at all. like at all. There's no fixing that. Let me see. What if we do? Let's do here. I'm gonna look this up in real time. If we do okay. All right. So I guess I'm watching a video right now. I'm watching kind of like what has helped me with chip carving. Mhm. Now, what I want to know is with the grain. No, not against the grain. I said with the grain. Let's see if we have this. Two-sided chip. I hate it when you're looking for, hold on, let's see if we can't quickly like find it in one of our books. Like, I've never been a fan of this, and when it came to like college or anything, like I've always had a problem with when rosettes getting the pattern onto the wood that's finishing. I've always had a problem with both the three main chips. Okay. I've always had a problem with not understanding a concept. Like, I get it, studying and everything and stuff, and actually I've never really understood exactly like how to study. Like, I've always thought of that as memorization. Which I, now in my realization of like in my understanding now, and with my my level of learning, I think there's a difference between learning and memorizing. I think one of the like more important things that we should be teaching in the education system is relating it to like real world examples, and being able to exemplify what it is when we see it. And this is like such a big, I don't even know how we got onto this already. I was just saying, like, what I hate is when there's like a concept or something that you read or that you see and you're like, yeah, information, that's fine, da 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 da. And then when it's actually like something that you can apply, you're just like, went over this, I didn't really pay attention to it. Or, it's like, oh, where was it, so that I can go back and look at it. And see, those are borders. I think our boy Marty went into it a bit more. Okay. Yeah. And then he talks about how to sharp, how to prepare the wood, how to transfer. Okay, then wood grain. Yes. I get wood grain. Okay, 3 knives. Common shapes. 2-sided ships. Part 2. Okay, half moon. Those are straight lines. I mean, those are other shapes. Okay. Oh, that's how you cut these bad boys out. All right. Okay. Maybe we aren't going to be so scared of trying this one next. Okay. Okay. I'm feeling confident about that one. But what I'm not feeling confident about is cutting with the grain on some of these. I know I heard it somewhere. I just know it. What if I do this? Okay, okay, that's why I was having an issue finding it, because the image that I was looking at was with the had like the triangle. Yes. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, and that's exactly what happened here. Please. Wow. Got it. So basically, what needs to happen when you're going with the grain is don't, so like you'll start, and just as it's going against the grain, like just when it hits the point where it's going with the grain, you take it out. You withdraw it a little bit to finish it, and then you retrace it again to connect it so that it falls out. Wow. Who would have thought? I didn't. Here we go. And so because that is that like last cut essentially was with the grain, like it became like towards the end like with the grain, you want to like withdraw it just a bit so that that doesn't happen. But I mean, it did happen. It's there. It's not bad. It's not as bad. Um, but it's a learning that I wish didn't show up on here. But you know, it's fine. Don't. There's that. We do that. Okay, but just as I mentioned before, get to a point where there's that. There we go. But at least that is easy to clean up. Like when the excess is there from not going on deep, that excess there is a lot a bit easier to take out. Okay. There we go. That was a big clip. Go. There we go. And look at that. Just comes on. Wonderful. Okay. So besides this horrible monstrosity that happened right here, this is cool. This is fine. Just gonna go directly into these other. There you go. There we go. That's when we need to do the that whole raise up the knife just a little bit. Just a little bit to really get down into that like last corner there, which makes sense. And I'm just doing horrible technique right now. As I've just kind of given up on this side, essentially. There we go. I'm just really giving up on that one side because of what happened on that one ship. So I guess this is a lesson in patience. That, you know, sometimes mistakes will happen. Especially when you're feeling like progress was definitely being made. But, you know, then something foolish happens and you're just like, you don't understand how that would have happened. Sometimes things happen and you just gotta go with the flow. That's it. That's all. Yeah, no, that would not work. I was gonna say, is there a way to carve just all the way through these half crescents? And that's not possible, especially if we want this ridge part right here. If we want to maintain that ridge part, we need to stick there. So each one of these needs to be cut on their own. Yeah, okay. So I think I know what needs to be done. So we go here, we hit that point, and then we dragging it out. Because we need to declare the meetup point with that first cut. And then from here, this is where it goes in, and then we need to guide it out. Go to shallow to deep to shallow. And then from here, we flip over to position 2. Go in there. And then drag it on. And then from there, what we'll notice is, here we go, is that this will want to come out. It'll have the feeling that, oh, it came out. But the reason why it didn't fully come out, there we go. It turned out it was just that last part. Okay. It was just that last, on the triangle. We need to really make sure that that connects in there, so that it kind of has like that finality and it closes in. Okay, but see, this is what I was talking about with education and being able to recall like the way that memory is in like actual application, rather than just memorizing things all the time. Because in hindsight, now that I understand the way that education is right now is just like one big memory game, and that's not to say and that's just more of a drag it up. There we go. And I just personally feel like not everyone's remembering. Not everyone has the capacity to remember everything. There's certain things it's like, okay, I may not be able to recall every aspect of this one. It's like kind of like this is a very like drastic example. I can't tell you the exact circumstances and whatnot that led to I'm trying to find like an actual example. I can't I can't recite the actual, okay, so something like this. I can't recite the exact example or the exact book definition of insurance fraud. I don't know what the exact textbook definition is and what circumstances led to the formation or the law of the creation of, what happens to you when you defraud, insurance companies. But I know what not to do. I could list a couple of examples of what not to do so that you don't fraud insurance companies. And don't get me wrong, it's a very random example, but that's kind of like my point though. Like, I feel like a lot of times, the education system or, just anything in life, it's like there's this expectation to be able to recite, like, give me the exact examples between the dates of this year and this year, or give me, like, and I say this because it's more, it's more like history related, where it's like, oh, in like history classes, you're supposed to remember as much as possible because that is supposed to, reflect your understanding of what happened in history, and in an effort, in our system, as to you learn your history so that you don't repeat it. I don't need to know exactly what happened play by play. I just need to know when this happens, or when something happens, that it's bad and it needs to stop. Because what's happened, it's like, and I don't mean to get, all serious or political, but I feel like there is a big disconnect. And, especially where you have a lot of people where they're saying what you're doing is, reflective or very similar in intent and action to this other bad group. And other people are like, what are you talking about? No, this one group said this one exact thing. We don't say that. And the light bulb just like clicked in my head. Like, I think that's a really big part of where the misunderstanding is, and why we're having so hard connecting, because one side is application, the other side is memorization. So like one side really is saying like, no, you're calling me this, you're saying this. We are not like that, because we don't say we don't say what this other group did, or da 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 da. And the other side is like, it's not about what you say, it's what you are doing. And what you're doing is very reflective of what this other bad group is doing. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I'm actually thankful for my communications degree. I think, and that's not to say, I'm definitely not having a Kendall Jenner Pepsi can moment. Like, you guys, I have the secret. I have the thing. Like, this is why you guys are getting confused. This is why you guys don't like each other, just like each other, like forehead. Not saying that's the case. But we've always maintained that the issue is communication. The root of all issues, well, majority issues. Like, I'm not even going to go down that path. But I always say this. I always have this. Majority of the world's problems stem from communication. And I feel like that is because a lot of people are not taught how to communicate effectively. Because to communicate is more than just talking. You see, a lot of people have the whole, I'm here, like, hear you talking. I'm talking with you. I hear you talking. And it's like, yeah, you hear me, but you're not listening to what I'm saying. There's all these different, there's these different misunderstandings of, people's intents. And this is definitely not, saying, well, it's the one side, it's the person, who's not listening, or, it's the way that, this other person's communicating, don't like it or anything. It's multifaceted. And I personally feel like it's one of those situations where, both sides can do a lot better, both in terms of the person who's supposed to be listening, and the person who's doing the communicating. Because if you're not communicating effectively, then you might as well not say anything at all, you know? And that's my thing, you know, where it's like, yeah, I get it. You know, you're trying to do its best, and it's like, hey, you know, because there's definitely been instances in my life where it's like people are like, you know, they understand that and they're like, let's talk it out, let's communicate. And it's like, you communicate so horribly though, like you might as well like not even make the attempt, because the way that you're communicating, it's doing more harm than good. So again, it's a multifaceted level, and you know, it's a multifaceted, you know, multi-level kind of issue. But you know, I feel like when you get down to kind of like the root of the issue, and you can, you know, like kind of like understand where certain people are coming from on certain issues, you know, figure out where the disconnect is, then you'll be able to go through and start fixing the things. Like once you find like what the actual issue is, then you're able to repair, to rebuild, to, you know, get to the solution faster. But you can't provide a solution to a problem you don't know. Like that's just how things work. And that's it. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, and have a nice one. I'm totally just kidding. But no, I really feel like I really like that realization. It's really, really deep. Really deep. Let's start here. Okay, with this we got to be just a little bit careful, because now we're going directly with the grain with that one. Once we could just go ahead and get this started, like that. There we go. Maybe, yeah. Like, let's start in the grain. My hand was just like very shaky on that, and I did not feel comfortable like completing that cut, because I feel like I would have just like scratched the wood so bad, and I would have been so mad. Even madder than this monstrosity right there. Okay. Are you ready to come out? Yeah. Perfect. I think it's that section right there. Come on out. Down. There we go. I was about to say, I know you're ready to come out. I know. We're not hitting on for dear life. There we go. Yeah. There we go. Wonderful. Did a little bit of a like overextended the cut on this one, but I think that is okay. Um, because in an ideal world, after all the cuts have been made and after everything has been finalized and finished, then you would, well, finalized after all the cuts have been made. Afterwards, what you would do is then you would apply some sort of finish, and that would fill in some of like the holes, so like the cracks and the tears and like those little like overextending like cuts, you'll be able to seal those up. But we haven't even tried to apply finish on any level to any of our projects, so we don't know. we're not that advanced just yet, but it's coming. It's coming one day. Yep. Yeah, there we go. Yep. And then because we went with the green, it kind of like cut us out early, which is fine. That's easier to fix, if we're being honest. There we go. Get on out there. Yeah, that one's just going to be a little bit weird because towards the end, that one kind of went in at like a very, very deep sort of like angular like incident. There we go. Like that one a lot better. Go. Just gonna do this. Go. And we'll just recut all of these. There we go. I was like, why is it not like none of these are like lifting up? What in the world is going on? Go. So we have two more, and then we'll do the inside triangles, I guess. But this is looking really nice. Let me show you on the good camera. Even though we have that one that just looks really like, it's not looking bad at all. How can I? Because it only looks like that because again we have, there we go. I was like, it only looks like that because I'm showing it against the camera and we still have like that white background going on. But yeah, so I think the way that this is supposed to work out is after we cut out the middle triangles, like I think the pattern's supposed to be done after that. Which I can totally attest to as that being a really good idea. So we will not try to go overboard and make any more intricate designs for that. Like, what happens if I do? Okay, that's fine. Now I'm just trying different things because I'm like, my arm is like, I've had enough. Like, can we not? Trying to do like the second position and cut, I like cut against this one, but it's only surface level, so it should not be that much of an issue. Do that. Yeah. Okay. Take that out. Okay. There we go. Sometimes you just gotta get a little bit creative. That is what I'm learning here. Because it's definitely a situation where some of these cuts require like a lot more strength in certain parts of the wood. Is without a doubt what happens in certain chips. Oh, okay. I was like, what happened? What did I do? But I think I hit the space bar on my keyboard. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, that should be fine. Do that. Like, I just feel like there's some chips where it's like, okay, clearly strength plays a big part. How are you supposed to get over that? Like, how are you supposed to get past that? You know, what is the industry secret, you know, for getting past those kind of blockers in these projects? Because you can't tell me, you tell everyone, gotta lift some weights, bud. Gotta go to the gym and, you know, do you even lift, you know? Like, I refuse to believe that that is, for a hobby. That's supposed to be for, everyone of all ages, you know, all ages, all demographics, and everything. And, you get to a certain part in the wood where it's a little bit, more like tough to cut through. And you're like, I don't know, maybe go to the gym. Maybe get some upper arm strength. I refuse. I refuse to accept that is the only solution to that. There we go. But it was so funny because as I was telling my best friend, the one who purchased this knife for me, she actually purchased a lot, like the wood, the knife, the book. I was telling her how this knife actually works really well for me because of like the ergonomic handle and how it's like more form fitting to my hand. And she's like, oh, thank gosh, because she felt very out of her element, like shopping for these things. So it was just more of like okay, he said he likes chip carving, he wants to get into chip carving. That is. But I just want to support, say, here you go. Heard this is what chip carvers use. So there you go. But no, I absolutely love this. This was, and it was just very heartwarming because, especially in the time where I feel like a lot of aspiring content creators and people who, are trying to pursue this, in any capacity, whether it be a hobby, whether it be, supplemental income, whether it be like a full-time career kind of thing. It's making that idea, it's making that kind of choice for yourself to do something, to go for something like this, and you really start to see who actually supports you versus those who kind of it's not saying that they just absolutely don't care for you or your aspirations or dreams or anything. They it's just one of those it's like, it's not saying that, they're just like, oh, if you're gonna go for that, I'm just like not gonna talk to you, or I think that is like a very foolish thing. But generally when you go for like the content creation sort of like kind of field, at least when you start out, if you're not supporting like a very like popular opinion, or not popular opinion, but like a popular appearance, or if you're already not established as some sort of like person with like a super mass following, a lot of people, I feel like they will try to essentially like talk you out of it, or basically call it like a fruitless endeavor. It's just very eye-opening to see the kind of responses and the kind of support that you get when you say that you're doing like this kind of thing. And it's just nice being able to, when you say that, when you're saying, hey, here's something I'm very passionate about, here is, something that I want to pursue, you are surrounded with people who are like, okay, I have no idea what that activity is, but from your explanation of it, it looks nice. If this is truly something you want to do, then allow me to dedicate for the cause and supply you with the research that I did. And this is what they said, these tools will help you achieve that goal. Now, whether or not I've already had the tools that I needed to get started is irrelevant in this matter, because it's just the thought that, it was okay, okay, what do I need to do to help make sure that you're excited and that you're successful in this endeavor that I've never experienced before. Where I tell a lot of people, well, I don't really tell like a lot of people what I'm doing, because I have like one of those philosophies where it's like I don't like telling people what I'm going to do. I like to tell people what I'm doing. So but even then, when I'm like explaining to like my family members what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, it's not that I get shut down. It's not them saying, well, why would you do something stupid like that? It's definitely never anything like that. So that is definitely a form of support that I really appreciate. But it's just to be introduced to another level of support where it's like, not only am I just going to give you verbal affirmation that what you're doing is, I support it, but allow me to, even put some sort of investment into it. Whether or not I get anything out of it, let me invest some sort of, additional resource or different supply that I feel will be helpful in your endeavor, which I feel like is a greater conversation about why like so many different, and there's some where they're like, you've done that, and yes, that helps, but you could do a bit more. But I feel like, there's a certain groups of creators, and you're welcome to, categorize them as you see fit. But there's like some creators where they're like, yo, I don't even need your, it's not that I don't need your money, but I don't want you to feel like the only way that you can support me is, financially. I'd be, more willing to say like, something that is, just as important, if not more important, is, interaction, and for, I feel like, if you don't exactly work in social media, there's a surface level understanding of why reactions and engagement matters, but there's like, there's that surface level of understanding of why it matters, but it matters. Because for like the educated, I'm willing to bet if people like, it's one of, so like you have like those kind of those questions on on like Facebook and Instagram, like, yeah, not Instagram, but like Facebook and Twitter, where they're like, would you rather have $1 million, or would you get $4,000 per week for your entire lifetime? And there's certain people who would rather have, some people will argue for, one or the other. Some people be like, no, give me the, the 4 million or however many million I said. And then there's other people where they're like, no, I would want 4,000 for life. And, they start debating into that. I feel like that same kind of question would have some sort of equivalence if you were to ask a content creator, would you rather have, I guess, like everyone in your chat, like, donate $1,000 every stream? Or would you rather have, like, so basically it's like, would you rather have everyone that comes into your chat, donate $1,000? Or would you rather have like 100 consistent, every time it's like, basically, would you rather have someone come into your chat and donate $1,000? Or would you rather have, I was like, what? No, I'm not. That's not what I do. Raid Sherpaing for the Destiny raid. It's basically like, would you rather have, I guess, would you rather have someone come into your chat and donate? Would you rather have like every visitor to your stream donate $10,000, or stay are like a lifelong follower or a lifelong viewer. I know that that's like a really like I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it, but it's like basically, would you want people to come in and just donate money, or would you rather have someone come in and stay, and to have like that long-term support? And the funny thing is, I feel like there's some people who would be like, oh, absolutely. I would love, like, literally every time someone comes visit my stream, like, oh, yes, and they're donating $10,000. Oh, yes, I would rather do that. And it's like, yeah, you can have that, or you can have like that exponential growth in viewership, because if you're having every time someone joins your stream, you have it's like a lifelong follower. So as long as one person like joins your stream or just happens to follow your stream, they're now a lifelong supporter. So if you have a couple of people continue to do that, once they land on your stream and they find their stream, they're there for the full time. And once you amass a certain number of people who happen to fall on your stream, then that's when your apparent, like, especially depending on the platform that you stream on, you then go up in ranking. You then have like this presence of, oh my gosh, a lot of people watch them, so then those other people start coming in. And then all of a sudden, because people have followed you, and some people, and these people are like lifelong dedicated, to your stream, then that's when brand deals and sponsorship starts, because it's like, hey, I have this really popular stream. Hundreds and thousands of people, I can guarantee you hundreds and thousands of people join my stream. They will be able to see your product, and they would like, and I can guarantee that they'll be able to, actually consume that, because again, they are under this theoretical world, they are a lifelong follower, like they are a lifelong viewer. That is worth more than what all of them can donate $10,000 for. The amount of deals, the amount of revenue that you can make from just by them just being there is a lot more than them just donating $10,000 and then essentially like leaving. Like if they just like walk in, it's like basically like pay-per-view. And I mean, there's probably some people who, would disagree with that. And, it's like one of those like, I mean, you have to really think about it further and everything. But that was just a, go. Okay, that's kind of difficult. That is, in short, my conversation about why, support is important. Basically, on the levels of support, why it is amazing when you have someone who supports you essentially on a level not just of a doing stuff. Good luck with that, where they choose to do a more active kind of like, actively support you on your endeavor, by actually, supplying some sort of investment into your stream. Yeah, that was a little bit too deep, but you know what? It's fine. It's the last one. It's whatever. It's done. All right, so now let's get these triangles done. Go. Well, I mean, that one was easy peasy, lemon squeezy. we go. That's a little, there we go. There we go. But see now, because we actually have the technique and we have kind of like the proper guidance and proper experience to handle these things, we are now better equipped to tackle these 3 chips. And see widespread success with these. And also, that's probably another one of the things as I'm thinking about it. My elbow is not close to me, which is probably why I'm not exemplifying kind of like the strength that is needed to take out some of these more hard chips. So that's more of the, more of the answer to what the heck am I supposed to get out like these more harder chips that just don't want to come out. The answer is to, kind of lock this in a little bit more and not like be out there, like kind of like lock it in a little bit more so that you can use your full strength to get these chips out. Which again, conveniently, is something that I learned and something that I know, but it's just, with the way that things are, with the structure and the layout of my stream setup, it is what it is, and this was what it is, Beautiful. Now this is beautiful. And then we'll take our sand eraser, and we're just gonna sand off some of this excess design. Go. I've got to order these erasers in bulk, to be honest, because I'm like, just in case. And just in case, you gotta make sure to have a couple of these on hand, because in order for you to actually use them, you gotta apply some pressure. You can't just, we're just gonna lightly erase here and there. No, you gotta get in there. You gotta remove the pattern from the wood. I'm kind of being intentional about leaving the shavings because that's nice. just do a little bit more here. Do a little bit of these things. Did we accidentally take that one off? Yeah, and that's why that's important too, because if you're like hard erasing and like getting the pattern off, and then you end up having like loose pieces of wood somewhere, and you accidentally like rub it off, then that kind of affects like the final product, which is okay, because at the end of the day, I feel like this is going to look amazing. And how do we know it's going to look amazing? Because this is how it looks. Come on, there we go. And that's how it looks. And again, it's definitely not perfect, not by a long shot. But compared to what we've done before, this is pretty amazing. Yeah, that did like no help to it. But it's okay, because I like this. I like the way this looks. I would actually take a picture of this. So what I want to do is do like a two-toned, like if you were to do this, if you were to like put this and this side by side, essentially. If you were to do something like started from the bottom, now we're here, you know? Like, I wonder if that like shows up against, you know, if we were to do that, like the differences in just these two. You can just tell are massive, you know? Well, let's not put them against a plain white background, but like something like that, you know? Because you definitely could not argue that you can't see the improvement. Like, yes, this one's a little bit more intricate, but this one is so clean. Like, come on, honestly, you know? And I mean, it'd be better. I mean, I guess on that same level, you can, you know, once you get there, you can compare it to, you know, when we're able to, you know, carve this one out. And then when, you know, we get to the point where we carve this one out, you know, I think this is a very wonderful comparison, a very wonderful early comparison as to the growth of what we're doing. And, you know, why I'm very thankful of, you know, continuing on through the mistakes and continuing on, even though, you know, some of these things are kind of like, ooh, that's ugly, you know? How does it even compare to this one? I mean, it's a bit cleaner. Yes, this one's a little bit more intricate. But yeah, it's just clean. I just love it. It's clean. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and call it there. We don't usually have super late streams outside of the last one that we had. But this one, you know, we try to keep it a little bit on the minimal side. It's just a way to ring out the Friday. You know, to ring out Fridays as a, you know, with a more calming kind of activity, And chip carving is definitely growing to be one of those activities that I'm appreciating and really helping with keeping my sanity, which I'm always thankful for. um but yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and call it there. In terms of everything that's going on, and 2021, evaluating where you are, where you're going. We're not stopping anything. But I do think I want to change a couple of things for like the 100th time. um as and I feel like with these kind of things, you just have to reevaluate what you're doing, and kind of try to make like the best choices for what you want to do. um I'm thinking I want to change. So in terms, and this is more in terms of like the gaming stream, I'm thinking I'm going to change Tuesday morning stream to either Monday or Wednesday. I want to do the research into seeing, kind of like which one of those is kind of like non, or like has the least the least popular times taken. I want to say Monday is the least common one, and Monday will probably be the best. But what I've noticed is, especially with the time slot, with what we try to do, so we're trying to do more of a 4-hour stream, and it is very hard to do that on a Tuesday playing a game whose basically their reset dictates. Their reset is like right in the middle of that. So, and that is, that was very apparent, like especially for today. Destiny, so like Destiny's like reset, their in-game reset is 9 o'clock. So right in the last final stretch of the stream, the game will sometimes just shut down, so that they can introduce whatever back-end maintenance that they need to do to bring in the next thing. And I want to avoid having to face that as much as possible. And that's why I want to change, that to like either like a Monday, hey, it's the day before reset, let's finish up any of these last things that we need to do. Or make it like a Wednesday and say, hey, reset has already happened, there you go. Like, I want to mitigate being at a time, mitigate streaming during a time where the game will more than likely shut down for a couple of minutes, or depending on what needs to be updated. If it's going to update on a Tuesday and the game hasn't manually updated because the update isn't available until like 8 o'clock, then that we run into issues there. So Tuesday will more than likely become Monday. Tuesday stream will more than likely become Monday streams. Monday bright and early in the morning. Me thinking about it, I'm just like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do that, because if people just in general have a hard time getting up all days of the week, Monday is definitely one of those days that a lot of people are just like, yeah, I don't want to do that. But if it shows that there's kind of like, it's kind of like one of those things, if there's a market for it, then I want to meet it there. But that's really it. That was more of like the one change. I am thinking, just depending on what game it is. Marvel's Avengers, their reset is on Thursday, so typically we're playing on Fridays. After all those games have reset, we're typically playing Marvel's Avengers on Fridays. Just this last stream earlier today, I was like, I'm not doing Marvel's Avengers right now. There's a lot of grinding that I need to do that I have no enjoyment of doing on stream, so I'm not going to position that content. I'm not going to put that content in front of people, especially if it's something I do not enjoy doing. So I'm definitely not going to do that, but hopefully by next Friday, everything will be good and everything will be in order, and we can continue on playing, figure out some things that we need to do and what we can do, and then move forward from there. But yeah, 2021, besides the fact that an arm of my glasses fell off for some inexplicable reason, the screw just decided it wanted to give up. Us having camera issues, but we were able to fix it, so that gives me life. Like, what I've noticed with these problems are like, yes, they're problems, yes, they're setbacks, but the solution So fix them. I feel like that is I honestly feel like that is going to be 2021 for me. Is like I'm going to be faced with a lot of issues that I have and that I know are apparent, but the solution, I already know what the solution is, so I need to do it. So I feel like, these were just very small indications of what I'm going to be facing in 2021, and how I deal with them and how I process them, is really going to affect the outcome. Because just as I've noticed, just for these two problems, I could cry about it. I could just be mad and throw them away, or I can just find the solution and realize that finding the solution is easier than being sad about it. But so that's it. That is what a way to end the first chip carving stream of 2021. I'm very excited. I will be actually, and I know I said it before, but I will be posting up that one because I'm very proud of that one, mistake and all, because it looks really nice. So I'm definitely going to be posting that. So if you haven't already, please go ahead, follow all the social channels that you see below me right there. Yeah, so go ahead, make sure to follow all the channels, and I will see you in the next one.